Hi everybody. What I want to talk about today is really a combination of things. One of the things I initially wanted to start with and sort of ended up doing something else, and will probably be doing both of them, is the whole issue of an injection attack. And if you start looking on the web, especially for injection attacks involving PHP and MySQL, what you're going to find is that the problem is primarily when you do not use MySQLi. Most of the problems having to do with injection attacks have to do with using the old MySQL. If in your book there's some precautions you can take, but those may actually even themselves be a bit overkill. But you can't be too safe, and if you have a client and you're trying to make sure that your client doesn't get attacked somehow by an injection attack, if your data are corrupted by the entry of something that shouldn't be entered into your system, the usual source of that is entering it into some text field. When you have the values all set up in things like so the various kinds of tools we have, thinking for example a selection box or radio buttons or check boxes, or there's another one we haven't used, and I wanted to take a look at it too. It's called as an input type, it's called the number. Here it is right here. You can see it in this HTML. What I wanted to do, I wanted to start off with a situation where you have a lot of different methods for different classes that you may be using. And so what I did, I put together a very, very simple little application. And with that application, I'm going to, I hope, to demonstrate a number of things that you can do using methods for method names inside of your HTML, and how these method names can be used to call different kinds of methods within the client. And so instead of having the name set up so that the client calls a class directly from the name of the value of whatever input you have, instead it calls a method in itself. And what that method does, it then has all of the information that you need to open and access the class. One of the things that makes, I suppose it's more difficult in one sense and not as difficult in the other, is when you use or don't use a construction function, some kind of constructor in a class. Because if you use one, something automatically fires, and usually that then takes care of a whole series of things. On the other hand, you may have a class that has different methods that are public that you can call from the outside, or perhaps you want to pass some kind of information. You want to pass some arguments to the class. You want to do it through the method. You want to do it through the methods instead of instantiating the class, because that'll give you a little more flexibility. And then if you have some kind of situation where you may have different values, you don't have to keep reinstantiating the class. You can just use the same class and call the method with the same class instance again and again without having to recreate the class. Okay, well, let's get started on this. The first thing I want to do is tell you a little about the table. The table that was made was very simple. It has only really, beside the ID, which has automatically generate using serial, it only has two fields. One field is for username, and that is an invar char. I think the length of it's about 20. It's not very big. And then we have a tiny int, and those values I think are between 1 and 127. Anyway, I even brought those in a little. We're going to be entering points, and the name of the field is points, and the name of the field for the username is uname. So these two names here within the HTML that we start with are also happen to be the names of the two fields. Now this is a very simple setup, but it's made mainly to illustrate some points. Okay, now so with these two fields, you have the uname, and then you have what we're calling points. The points are just, they can be anything. They can be points for you, points against you. They're just points. And if they're positive points, the more you have, the better. And if they're negative points, the fewer you have, the better. And so I set the range between 5 and 25. And like I said, they don't mean anything except something that can vary and we can do some changes to. Now, the first thing I want to point out, because of the nature of this field, it's one of those little rollers. We'll take a look at it in a second. Is there's no way that any kind of injection can come through this particular input type. And put in a number. There's no way that you can do it. On the other hand, here's a text field, and people can enter bad things into that. Most of the things that they enter, though, aren't going to hurt you if you're using MySQLi, which I'm hoping all of you do. Okay. So let's take a look at this and see what we have. We really don't have a whole lot here, and then we have the different methods that can be used. And it's really simple. Let me run it for you real quick here. Take a look at it. Oh, wants me to save it all. All right, there it is. Okay. I've entered some usernames already. Let me show you. You click here and it says show all the data. And here we have everyone in the class. And from a low, Bill has only 5 points, to a high that Han has 24 points. Well, let's increase the number of points. Let's say that we decide we're going to give Aaron more points, and so what we'll do, we'll change it from 8 to 9 points. And so we just go up here, and here's our little thing. Okay, now it says 9 points. The user's name is Aaron. Okay, and we just click the little make request button. Oops, forgot to update. I hit the wrong button. Okay, we have to have this to update the points, so now we can make the request. And the points update is complete. So now we show all the data, and let's see if Aaron has the new amount of points. And there, Aaron now has 9 points. Here is where traditionally the injection attacks occur, and there'll be certain funny little types of things that people might enter to cause that. But like I said, we don't have to worry about that too much with MySQLi.